New Zealanders will officially get a new Prime Minister tomorrow as the Cabinet endorses Bill English to take the reins from John Key. It's just the third change of leader in 17 years, a period in which Australia has had 6 PMs. But that isn't the only area where New Zealand is leaving us behind. This year, it'll record a budget surplus of nearly $2 billion compared to a $37 billion deficit here. More than 70% of New Zealand's population is employed compared to Australia's 64%. And perhaps most telling, for the first time since 1991, more New Zealanders moved back home than migrated to our shores in 2016. For tonight's special report, Chief Foreign Correspondent Philip Williams spent the week across the Tasman to see if the grass really is greener in New Zealand.
It's one of the most beautiful capitals in the world. The mountains, the sea, the stunning countryside nearby. But there's something else New Zealand has that Australia just can't seem to match. Political and economic stability. Just 2 prime ministers and 1 change of government this century. Add to that a growing economy that's actually in surplus.
We've had 8 uninterrupted years of the same messages, the same fiscal approach, the same monetary approach, whereas in Australia there has been a lot more volatility politically. So that makes it harder for businesses in Australia to plan.
And despite the charismatic and dominant John Key showing himself the political door, his deputy Bill English is not about to tinker with success when he takes over as Prime Minister tomorrow.
And we've got a set of government books and economic prospects that very few countries in the OECD can match. And, you know, even though John Key's going, we are determined to continue with that.
For opposition leader Andrew Little, more of the same seems more a threat than a promise.
Because, you know what, 41,000 homeless, 45,000 people who can't get the health care that they need, young couples who can't buy a first home. That ain't the New Zealand that a lot of people want.
The containers on Wellington's wharves are clear evidence of New Zealand's export success, and part of that, the vines and wines the world can't seem to get enough of.
The export markets have been well developed and opened up.
Has that been hard work?
Yeah, it is. It is hard work.
The vineyards around Martinborough outside Wellington are part of an industry that's reaping the benefits of a carefully managed export strategy.
Right.
And the good wine and clean green image is one of the reasons tourists are coming to New Zealand in record numbers, all part of the plan.
Tourism has been a major contributor to New Zealand, and I think, you know, it's a big chunk of the surpluses.
A lot of wine here. Atarangi winemaker Helen Masters says New Zealand's success is in part driven by size and geography.
We've always been a small island in the middle of nowhere. We've been very conscious that we have to deliver our wines onto the world stage, so it really is all about quality.
Just out of town, the season has been kind to the grass-surfing sheep swimming in lush pastures. Farmer William Sutherland has seen bad times, but this isn't one of them.
I am quite optimistic for the farming, the cropping, and yeah, it
looks good.
Cruising along. Tourism is a big help, very big help.
There's a quiet, relaxed confidence here. People expect the good times to continue, as predictable as the All Blacks feeding on our wallabies.
The Aussies are still hurting about the All Blacks, eh?
Nah, don't get the bag.
At this Wellington market, it's hard to find anyone with a harsh word for the management of the economy, even if they didn't vote for the ruling National Party.
One of the things I know about National is that they're always going to drive economic development, and I think that's great for any country.
You've got a surplus, unemployment's relatively low. Are there things to worry about in this country at the moment?
Despite the earthquakes and the damage from that, I mean, people are on edge because of that.
If anything does worry people around here, it is fear of another earthquake. The government may be broadly trusted, but not the very ground people stand on.
What's amazing just at the moment is that Wellington's come through its biggest earthquake in its recent history, and we are really rocking. You know, I shouldn't use that word.
Simon Wool sees the close ties between our 2 countries as a big part of the New Zealand success story.
Such a wonderful relationship between Australia and New Zealand, as close as countries could ever get. It's
You know,
not-
it's still open for you to become the seventh state, you know that, don't you?
and that's never going to happen. And we're never going to take on Australian currency either.
New Zealanders head into the holiday break confident the new year will bring more of the same, continued surpluses and political stability, something Australia's got firmly on its Christmas wish list. Philip Williams, ABC News, Wellington.